What's up, Culture Vultures? Long time no see. Your boy has been super busy. I just moved into a new spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting the starter locks going. You know what I'm saying? Your boy's in the ugly stage. But I'm back, and we're not here to talk about my hair nor my new apartment. But what we are here to talk about today is the Odyssey. Saw it last night. It is fresh in my brain. I'm here to break it down for y'all today. Absolutely loved it. If you don't know, if you ain't hipped to what's going on, this film is directed by Christopher Nolan, and it stars, I had to write down this long ass cast list: Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Corey Hawkins, John Leguizamo, Charlize Theron, John Bernthal, Lupita Nyong'o, Elliot Page, Mia Goth, Himesh Patel, Benny Safdie, Samantha Morton, Maurice Comte, and Travis Scott. That is one star-studded fucking cast right there, bro. No cap. I love this movie. It was the tale of the Odyssey. It's about this tale of a man named Odysseus who is from Ithaca, and he goes off to fight in the Trojan War, and it takes him 12 years to get home, and all in all, he's gone for 20 years. And, you know, he encounters Greek gods and goddesses and the children of Greek gods and goddesses and witches and cyclopses and sirens along the way as he sails across the sea with his men trying to get home. And Odysseus is portrayed by Matt Damon. Anne Hathaway portrays his Queen Penelope. Tom Holland portrays their Prince Dalmacus. Sorry, I apologize if I got the names wrong. But this movie was very well done. It really shows how Matt Damon's character in this film is affected by the war. And he gives a wonderful monologue to the queen, his queen, once he returns, telling her all that he's gone through mentally from seeing what his men did once they opened the gates at Troy and they got in and they killed a bunch of people, including, spoiler, Zendaya. And that's why he keeps on seeing Zendaya as Athena, because he saw Zendaya's character get killed in Troy, and he keeps seeing her face as Athena, who is the god of love, and she keeps speaking to him in moments throughout his journey where he doubts himself. And he winds up on a beach, and he ends up in a relationship with Calypso, portrayed by Charlize Theron. And, you know, he starts to tell his tale about how he's trying to get home. And about his tale about how he was trying to get home, and, you know, he can't remember, you know, certain things, but he can't remember certain things. And along the way, he starts to remember more and more and more. And she's feeding him this lotus plant to get him to forget, because they're there and they're having sex, and, you know, they're at peace and they're happy, and it's just the two of them. But, you know, he knows that, you know, he has to go home. He's trying to remember, does he have a wife? Does he have a son? All this other stuff, right? Like that. So I thought that, you know, he did a wonderful job as Odysseus. You know, Odysseus is a complex character in a way. There's certain things in the film that he does, you know, when his men get in certain predicaments, or certain things that he does when they land on shore and they search for food or for water. But I think ultimately he is a noble man. Maybe I feel that way because Matt Damon is so likable. But I felt that when you're in war and, you know, you're caught as a leader in certain predicaments, you have to make difficult choices for you and your men. So I understand it. I get it. But I thought that Matt Damon, he played it very well. And I thought that Anne Hathaway, who played his queen, she did an amazing job, especially in her facial acting. And the final scene when she gives the challenge to all of her suitors, portrayed by Robert Pattinson, Corey Hawkins, and a bunch of others that bully her son Tom Holland and all that, when he's, you know, a prince and he's trying to get skilled in sword fighting. And John Leguizamo portrays the most noble servant to Odysseus and his queen. And that's why Odysseus left him behind, so he would have someone loyal left behind to ride for him and rally all the most loyal soldiers, so that when he came home and had to fight for his throne again, that he would have some backup. He thought about this. He's a highly intelligent and, you know, crafty, patient, you know, soldier that really sees the big picture and plays the long game. And like I said, sorry, but back to Anne Hathaway, her acting was incredible. I actually think she blew Tom Holland off the screen. Tom Holland, he was okay in this film. I still have to see the new Spider-Man, but he was all right in this movie. But, you know, he was okay in that scene when he was walking with Matt Damon, and he didn't know it was Matt Damon. He thought it was a beggar, because Matt Damon came in disguise, because during the war, or after the war, the man that led Matt Damon in war, that was his superior, was a man named Agamemnon, played by director Benny Safdie, one half of the Safdie brothers, Benny and Josh Safdie. So he ended up being killed by his queen, played by Lupita Nyong'o, who plays twin sisters who are both queens in the film. And Lupita Nyong'o also plays the Queen Helen, who was the wife to John Bernthal, who served with Odysseus in the Trojan War. And then when Odysseus' son, played by Tom Holland, try and follow me here, Thalmachus goes, you know, to find his father, he meets John Bernthal, and he tells him the story of, you know, them hiding in the horse, and how Odysseus sacrificed Elliot Page's character in the film. And, you know, Robert Pattinson, his acting was amazing in it. I thought that the musical choices, the cinematography, the use of lighting, and, you know, practical effects, it was just really, really, really well done. And the performances even bumped the film up a couple notches. And, you know, Zendaya did an amazing job. Like I said, you know, she played Athena, and she also played a woman in Troy that was brutally murdered and beheaded in front of Matt Damon, and he keeps on seeing her as Athena after that murder. And then also Corey Hawkins, he was amazing. Mia Goth, she plays Anne Hathaway's servant girl that basically betrays her and you know, is siding with Robert Pattinson, who's just, you know, very snivelly and Weasley, and just, you know, a very low down piece of shit character who's just a coward at the end of the day, and, you know, is plotting, you know, to kill the prince and doesn't want Odysseus to come back, and he wants to be king and wants to marry the queen, but he's, you know, he's a punk. And it was an incredible film. I loved it. You know, if you haven't seen it, please go and see it. John Leguizamo, like I said, who plays Odysseus' most loyal servant. I think it's Mentor. If I got that wrong, I am so sorry, but I think it's Mentor. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that. But he is amazing in the film. John Bernthal is amazing in the film. You know, he had a shaved head. He was, you know, sort of ripped. I'm thinking, is this going to be a typical meatheadish John Bernthal role? And I think he's an amazing actor, but he's always playing like this, you know, very like strong, brutish, tough guy in his movies type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he was really good in this film though. And yeah, I just loved it. It was amazing. What else can I say about this movie? I think this is one of Christopher Nolan's best directed films. You know, like I said, you know, the scene at the end where Odysseus, he talks to the queen, and he disguises himself as a beggar, you know, because, you know, his leader was killed by the queen when he came back. So he wants to, you know, obsess things, you know, check the temperature on things before he fully comes back. And when he's still disguised as a beggar, and he's sitting outside the gate talking to the queen, his back towards her, and he's talking about Odysseus, and how he served with Odysseus, and then talking about what they went through when they opened the gates at Troy and their men went in and killed everybody, and how he just feels really, you know, horrible about the situation, how it changed him, it scarred him. He felt bad, you know, and guilty for all the death and destruction that they caused once they, you know, got in and just sacked and raped and pillaged the whole town. And I think overall that's the theme of the movie, and also too just the way that the rich treat the poor, and I think it was just it was a statement on the way people treat each other today, and how currently we're fighting an unjust war right now. So it was an incredible film. It's fast paced, it's action packed, the dialogue is really well. The acting is really good. It's very emotional. You can really feel it. You can really feel like when they're in the cave being attacked by the Cyclops, you can really feel like the Cyclops is that big, or you really feel like you're there eating with them and they're getting turned into pigs. Like, you feel like you're there in that moment with them, going through what they're going through. You feel it when they're in the horse and they're shitting and pissing all over each other, and just they're stuck there in this miserable condition and their bodies are stiff and shit. Like, you feel it. You feel all of the things in this film through the performances and the direction, and just the way where the camera is stationed and how they make these practical effects look so real and so big and in your face. It's really well done. And just like like the way the camera is in like the cave, and how you can see, like, you feel like you're inside the cave and you feel like you can see the whole thing. You feel like you're there and the Cyclops is that big. Like, it is a dope film, and I highly recommend that you see it. I loved it. And that's all I'll give y'all today. I'm gonna be dropping a video on Obsession either today or tomorrow. I love that film as well. As always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I got a short film coming soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna definitely be dropping more videos. And as always, peace, love, and soul.